welcome to the Car Sim and Race Driver Show, presented by Hugh Hattrick. Drive fast and try not to crash. Hello and welcome to the Car Sim and Race Driver Show with me, Hugh Hattrick. It's our weekly motorsport and Formula One update where I give you the headlines of the week that I think are important and you would like to hear, and go over a bit of banter and things that are happening. And I would like to give a quick shout out to all our new subscribers and obviously all our subscribers who have been with us for a long time and loyal viewers and listeners to the video and also to the podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. Your loyalty is fantastic. Now, remember, in our last video, we have this special prize for all new subscribers, but it could be one of up to 1,000 people. Once we get those 1,000 hits, that's right, all the names go into a hat, and this could be yours. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. This is a very, very special prize of two amazing Formula One world champions of Senna and Fangio could be coming through your letterbox any day now. We just need to hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. And I have another quick shout out as well to Josh Martin. He's been a regular guest on our show and he is racing tonight in the Race Department GT3 Championship, which is season 9, and it's tonight, Wednesday the 10th of June at 8 o'clock, that's UK time. And if you log on to twitch.tv/TM_MartinJ, you'll be able to follow Josh Martin as he battles through and see how well he can do in his GT race tonight. So it looks like somebody's been watching the show, because Autosports, they have done a piece all about esports and of course, Formula One, things like that. And they've kind of taken a slightly similar line to what we've been saying. Let me show you, and you can see for yourself. Just take a little second here. There we are. How seriously should we take esports? Now, it says here, as interest in esports has increased during the coronavirus lockdown, the lines have become blurred between what's real and what's virtual, especially when some high-profile participants seem to be playing for laughs. And it's done by Luke Smith as well. So basically it goes into the idea of gaming and how some drivers like Lando Norris have taken it pretty seriously, as well as George Russell and Alex Albon, among others in the Formula One field. And of course, Lando Norris was taken out in dramatic style when he raced in Indycar. So what it's trying to say is, as long as it's done properly and professionally, then yes, we, the viewer, are quite interested and we will probably watch it. But when it becomes a little bit too maybe kind of easy going, no damage on, they could just do argy-bargy without any kind of consequences, it tends to lose its audience. And that's exactly what we've been saying for rather a long time. But what is quite funny is it does show here is Charles Leclerc having a laugh, playing his games and so on. And also they're doing a lot of live streams, which I think is a really good thing, actually, because it helps them get get out to their loyal fans and to have good chat and relationship with them, which I think is definitely very, very healthy. What I would say is what happened on Sunday night again. There were an awful lot of accidents, and because there's no damage, people just restart, and it wasn't much of a race. At Baku, it was actually quite dull for a virtual race. They're normally a bit more interesting. I mean, credit to where it's due, Russell did actually go ahead and win that race and won it pretty easily, to be fair. But it's just lost its kind of anointing, you could say. It was kind of special at the start. People were expecting quite a lot, and it was kind of building up. But I think, to be fair, certainly from myself and both Andrew, my co-host, who does the commentary with me, we felt it's not been that good, with the exception of the race in Brazil, that we feel was about the best one that they've done. And now that they've got Formula One coming up in just a few weeks' time, it's going to be really interesting to see how that all fares. But let's have a look at some of the Formula One headlines that are in the news today. And of course, this comes from Autosport as well. Now, Lando Norris is the latest driver who basically said that the driver moves were rather a bit of a shock. I think he's probably right, because he maybe wasn't expecting Sainz to leave and Ricciardo to join him. and especially when Sainz was going off to Ferrari, which is rather a nice move indeed. And I think they will definitely do quite well there. I think Sainz is the kind of the quiet horse, you can say, in the field. And I think Leclerc's going to have a very, very tough competitor as a teammate to take on. And one of the other headlines, which I looked at earlier, was the race making a case for reversed grids. Because this was back in 2005. If we go on to this one here, Japan 2005, because at that point it was single shot qualifying. And that meant that every driver had one go to get the qualifying lap in. And when all the main kind of championship contenders or the kind of top of the field had their chance to go, it started to rain. And therefore their times were much slower and they all started at the back. In the end, it was Kimi Raikkonen who won the race in a fantastic battle at the end with Giancarlo Fisichella. So what they were trying to say is, with all these battles of people coming through the field, it could make for a very, very good race. Now, that's the reverse grids have kind of been told that it's not going to happen because Toto Wolff had rejected the plan from Mercedes, and it takes all the teams in Formula One to accept a new rule for it to come into place. So because Mercedes rejected it, it's no longer going to happen. And they kind of looked at it. It was a bit of a joke, a bit of a gimmick, and that's why they rejected it. And I can kind of see the point in terms of what this chap is writing, Luke Smith, sorry, is writing in Autosport. But yes, it would bunch things up a bit. It could make it quite exciting. A lot of the good drivers coming up through the field. But also, I mean, for a big, serious championship, you want it to kind of work. You want it to make sure that people take it seriously and that we're not trying to always have the slowest at the front, to give them a chance. At the end of the day, we want to see the best drivers battle it out. And in the majority of cases, they always end up at the top anyway. The good drivers are out there battling away. And that's what Formula One is all about. So for me, I'm not a massive fan of reverse grids. I just want to see great racing. I think the racing has actually been quite good over the last few years. My biggest grouch is just the engine sounds. I think they just sound up like glorified Hoovers, where in the old days when it was V8s and V10s, there was a proper noise, and that gave it a bit more effect, certainly for the show. But let me know what you would think. We've had a number of comments in our last videos, which is fantastic. So let us know what you think, whether you're on Podbean or whether you're watching this on YouTube. And make sure you write the comments and let us know what you think. So let's get on to our next headline. Here we are. It's always fast with countryside internet. Now, one of the interesting headlines as well is that Indycar in America has just come back and it's returned. So what did they make of all of that? Now, a lot of Formula One viewers might not watch Indycar, but it is actually covered on Sky TV, which is quite good. So now they're all saying that after a number of issues and incidents in the race that was just on, it was Scott Dixon who eased to a comfortable win for Chip Ganassi Racing. But there's certainly plenty of talking points because IndyCar is very, very close. And it does seem to, the drivers change places many, many times. And it's more kind of basic racing, unlike Formula One, where the technology is incredibly advanced. IndyCar isn't quite in the same league. But it's certainly, they're all, from what I gather from this report, is saying that it was actually pretty good. It was a very different atmosphere, as you can imagine, without having a big crowd there or any kind of crowd. What is it going to be like? And I think that's the big question that Formula One fans have. What on earth is it going to be like to watch racing without any crowds, without any cheering, and all the rest of it? It's going to be very, very minimal. But I suppose as long as the racing is good, we'll just have to get used to it. And perhaps by the end of the year, they might have relaxed the laws and actually allow people to come along to some of these kind of events. I have to say, I'll be keen to watch the next IndyCar race and to see exactly what happens and to watch it with a lot of anticipation. Now, we have got, I'll put that away, I'll stop sharing it there. We've got, of course, the Austrian Grand Prix starting on I think it's the 3rd of July. It's going to be, so it's not long at all. Now, what would be great is, what are your views? Who do you think is going to win? Will this give Red Bull and Max Verstappen a real chance to dominate at the start of the season and maybe put him in contention for winning his first ever World Championship? Or will Lewis Hamilton, once again in that almighty Mercedes, show what he's got and take his 7th world title? I think it's certainly going to be very, very close, and I can't wait to see what happens. So there you have it. We've got a number of headlines and stories. Remember to check out our other videos in our range on the channel, and subscribe and give us a like if you can. That would be fantastic. It's great to see you, and I'll be back tomorrow night. We'll do another live show on our YouTube channel at 9 o'clock with me, and of course with Andrew Marr as well. So remember to watch Josh Martin tonight. I'll make sure I put the link in the description. And drive fast and try not to crash. Bye just now.